resulting attacks in Paris and San Bernardino, I ordered new actions to intensify our war against ISIL. These actions, including more firepower and special operations forces, are well underway.
ISIS control around 70% of Syrian territory and the majority of Iraq. According to the estimates, the total number of ISIS fighters is between 80,000 and up to 100,000. This bit of information is very important. Putin is destroying ISIS in Syria. There are up to 50,000 of ISIS fighters in Syria. Obama and so-called US allies are destroying ISIS in Iraq. There are around 30,000 of ISIS fighters in Iraq.
We are hitting ISIL harder than ever. Coalition aircraft, our fighters, bombers, and drones have been increasing the pace of airstrikes, nearly 9,000 as of today. Last month in November, we dropped more bombs on ISIL targets than any other month since this campaign started.
Obama is running out of bombs to drop on ISIS. And ISIS is still alive? The US Air Force has fired more than 20,000 missiles and bombs since the US bombing campaign started against ISIS 15 months ago. The US Air Force says it is dropping bombs faster than we can replenish them in fight against ISIS. According to the US Air Force, American pilots have targeted nearly 18,000 sorties in the first 10 months of 2015. It's kind of strange. There are 30,000 of ISIS fighters in Iraq, and US has dropped 20,000 bombs on ISIS.
And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
In recent weeks, we've unleashed a new wave of strikes on their lifeline, their oil infrastructure, destroying hundreds of their tankers, trucks, wells, and refineries. And we're going to keep on hammering those.
And just recently, Russian intelligence has spotted up to 12,000 trucks as well as tankers on the Turkish-Iraqi border. Now, since the start of Russia's air military campaign in Syria, the country's forces have destroyed up to 2,000 tankers used to transport oil, as well as a number of oil production facilities. But still, just as you mentioned, oil smuggling continues.
This continues to be a difficult fight. As I said before, ISIL is dug in, including in urban areas, and they hide behind civilians.
Breaking news this hour. Reports are coming in that the U.S. has mistakenly carried out a deadly airstrike on Iraqi forces. Now, this is a video purporting to show the alleged attack. RT obtained it from a local source. We cannot currently verify it. The Iraqi troops were reportedly conducting an operation against Islamic State when the airstrike took place.
Just as the United States is doing more in this fight, just as our allies, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, Australia, and Italy are doing more, so must others.
And it was once again voiced this Friday that Russia is ready to join forces with the U.S. coalition in Syria, that it is ready to present the coalition with locations and other data on IS objects, and that Russian forces do expect the same response to come from the coalition. However, so far, Washington says that it is not ready for such a move.
So far, ISIL has lost about 40% of the populated areas it once controlled in Iraq.
So we have Russia and United States and its allies bombing ISIS in Iraq and Syria, dropping bombs on ISIS every day, and ISIS is still alive? So what is going on there? Saudi Arabia forms 34 countries alliance against terrorism, which does not include Iran and Iraq. 100,000 foreign troops, including 90,000 from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar and Jordan, and 10,000 troops from United States will be deployed in western regions of Iraq. These countries have decided on the formation of a military alliance led by Saudi Arabia to fight ISIS. There are 30,000 ISIS fighters in Iraq. Obama already dropped 20,000 bombs on ISIS. And now we have 34 countries sending 100,000 troops to fight ISIS. Forget ISIS, China is coming. Now it gets very interesting. Iraq and China signed 5 agreements and memorandums in December 2015, including on cooperation in the military as well as on the construction of the Silk Road. China is willing to increase energy cooperation with Iraq, with projects such as oil field exploitation and refinery construction. The two prime ministers reached a consensus on using China-made equipment to support oil and gas exploitation in Iraq. Why would China sign those agreements and memorandums with Iraq, knowing that US is dropping 20,000 bombs on ISIS in Iraq, and we have 100,000 foreign troops coming to defeat ISIS in Iraq? When it comes to China, recently China has adopted a new law. This new law makes it legal for the China's army to participate in counter-terror missions overseas. So that means China can send now its troops to Syria or even to Iraq. Public security and national security authorities may send personnel overseas to counter terrorism missions. The fact of the matter is that China can send its troops to Syria or Iraq now. In Syria we have Russians, so I would say China will send its military to Iraq. That means game over for the US dollar. One of the many reasons will be that when there will be China involved in Syria or Iraq, Putin will hold for a few years one article in the Russian constitution, which is the Article 15, Section 4. When that will happen, God bless America. Today we have in the news that circuit breaker halted Chinese stock markets for a second time this week. Stock markets are falling all around the world.
Is the situation in North Korea with its nuclear test, is that contributing to this market turmoil?
This has been a very, very rough week for Chinese stock markets. As you mentioned right off the top here, John, this is the second time this week that trading has been halted. And today, trading was halted within a half an hour of the market's opening. A very, very steep decline in the opening minutes of trading. As you mentioned, once the markets drop by 5%, there's a 15-minute delay, 15-minute halt in trading. And as soon as that 15-minute window ended and trading resumed, it took just a very short time after that for stocks to go down even lower, hitting that 7% threshold, which then automatically halted trading for the rest of the day.
By making this video, I just want to make people aware that the Chinese-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank will become fully operational from January 16, 2016. It is critical to keep an eye on this new Chinese-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank because the shift of the currency power from the US to China is going to take place very soon. When connecting all the dots, it becomes clear that the US market collapse and the US dollar collapse will take place very soon. The debt worldwide has increased by another $57 trillion since 2008. Unfortunately, this is the end of the debt-driven growth in the financial system. Game over. On Carlson TV YouTube channel, you can learn about health benefits of my protein food supplements. Under this video, you can find discount codes on all food supplements, updated weekly. To learn more, click the card there or click the link below this video.